Welcome, everyone. Um, so on Sunday at the closing circle of the International Women's Day Retreat, I know some of you were there, but at that closing circle, I gave myself a provisional job description. And here it is, creating a structure and an atmosphere supporting you to discover and voice your wisdom. Now, I say job description a bit tongue-in-cheek because we don't really function, well, I don't really usually function with the job description, though I felt some relief when I came up with this job description. And I realized I felt relief because I had been feeling some internal pressure to be able to state more wisdom than I actually felt like I could access when I was tired. It was the end of the retreat. I was tired. Um, and the wisdom bar can be high for spiritual teachers. I mean, aren't we supposed to be the wise ones who can lead the way? Aren't we supposed to be the wise ones who can lead the way to something big, profound, that will relieve all our pain and suffering and lead to something ultimate? I'm not going to go on from here because we each probably have our own hopes and fantasies about what a spiritual teacher might do for us. But back to the job description. Upon further reflection, I realized that not only was it relieving for me, but it was also clarifying because it helped me discern how reflective meditations teachers teach in a way that's different from how most teachers teach. And I'm talking about teachers of whatever they're teaching. Um, I think that most teachers believe, job description is to impart knowledge, and at best it's wise knowledge, but knowledge. Now, of course, we do some of that. We impart information about Dharma and Dharma teachings, but I think it's more important what we set up in an environment where you can touch into your own wisdom. And it's radical. It's radical in the sense that our basic assumption, our just kind of sort of often unexamined assumption, is that we need to look outside ourselves for wisdom. That's where it lies. Now, I'm not suggesting something extreme here, because hopefully I do impart some wisdom, but this wisdom is wisdom that comes directly from my life experiences. And of course, I do study Buddhism and try to connect what I learn in my studies to my experience. So I went to Google, that went to AI, and I looked for some definitions as we often do. Looking at outside sources, but then using them. So AI defines knowledge as, which involves inquiring information through education or experience and can be gained through reading, research, and memorization. Okay, knowledge. That's important. But then how is it different from wisdom? That's the question I asked. And what my response was is that wisdom involves applying knowledge with insight, judgment, and experience. I love that first one because that's really sort of hits the nail on the head. Wisdom involves applying knowledge with insight, judgment, and experience. Next one, wisdom involves using knowledge to make good decisions. Hopefully, that's something that our wisdom will lead us to: good decisions, good choices of words, good choices of action. Next, wisdom involves understanding when and how to use knowledge. That's the art form, when and how to use it. It shouldn't, especially in teaching, we don't want to put our knowledge out in ways that'll be baffling or at the wrong time. And lastly, it involves being able to put situations in perspective. Yes, that indeed is what we're doing. In fact, we could say that's what meditation can serve us, how it can serve us, which is that in meditation, often we see things from a different angle, from a different perspective, and that does lead to wisdom. So earlier in the retreat, It was during a reflection group. On retreats, we do what we do here the last 10 minutes, but we do it for longer. We do it for an hour each day. So the people really get a chance to speak at more length and look more deeply into their meditation. And one of the participants in this retreat remarked, "You are so wise." Now I had an immediate response that I think that I like actually. What I responded is, it's not just that I'm wise, that it's a conversation that goes on between us that evokes my wisdom. Now, at the time, I really felt this strongly because I was able to call to mind, recollect many other times and other situations where I do not feel at all wise. So maybe I should edit my job description to creating a structure and an environment to support each of us, myself, you, each of us, to discover and voice our wisdom. Because your honest descriptions and reflections upon your meditation beget my wisdom and in response. And because you're trusting me as a teacher and being open and vulnerable with me as a teacher beget actually my compassion and response. And this is a big motivation. This is why I continue to teach rather than retire, which most everyone in my age has already done. So my wisdom fluctuates based on conditions. That's what I'm saying. My wisdom fluctuates based on the context, the roles, the relationship I'm in. So there I am, once again, teaching conditionality through a bit of a different lens. That's what we often do here in reflective meditation. So that thought led me to another provisional rewrite of my job description, creating a structure and an atmosphere to support each of us to discover how our life experiences are dependently arisen rather than solely coming from self or someone else. Now, I could go on and on. I probably will after I give this talk, looking at my job description from different angles. But isn't this how wisdom develops? By looking at our life experience from different angles, each of which hopefully provides somewhat of a different perspective, or perhaps each of which at some times, at some points, might provide a different and perhaps more freeing perspective. So I will end the talk there and we will meditate for our usual time, our usual about 30 minutes, and we'll do our usual reflection for about 10, and we'll go on from there to share for about 10.